A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran. Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before.
Did Ricky Gervais just expose the political charade of our time? The comedian known for his biting wit has teamed up with an unlikely ally, American politician JD Vance, to call out Keir Starmer's slippery rhetoric. In a shocking turn of events, Gervais and Vance dissect Starmer's evasive answers and broken promises, revealing a pattern of deception that's eroding public trust. But what drove these two outspoken figures to join forces? And what does it mean for the future of British politics? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. In the world of politics and entertainment, unlikely alliances can form when shared frustrations bring together individuals from vastly different backgrounds. Such is the case with comedian Ricky Gervais and politician JD Vance, who have found common ground in their critique of political correctness and concern for free speech. Gervais, known for his biting wit and unapologetic humour, has long been a vocal advocate for free expression, particularly in comedy. He's argued that true free speech means defending even controversial opinions, emphasising that people often support the concept until they encounter something they personally find offensive. This stance has put him at odds with an increasingly censorious culture, where the pressure to self-censor has led him to alter his material to avoid backlash. On the other side of the Atlantic, JD Vance, a politician with a very different public persona, has been making waves with his own critiques of free speech restrictions.
With the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone.
At the Munich Security Conference, Vance expressed deep concerns about the erosion of free speech in the UK. He cited specific incidents, such as the conviction of Adam Smith Connor for silently praying near an abortion clinic, as evidence of a troubling trend in suppressing individual rights. Vance's speech didn't pull any punches.
Where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. Criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility.
He openly criticised European leaders for what he sees as the suppression of dissenting voices, arguing that such actions undermine democratic values and the fundamental right to free expression. His words resonated with those who feel that the retreat of free speech rights in Europe poses a significant threat to democracy itself. Despite their different backgrounds and spheres of influence, Gervais and Vance have found themselves united by a shared disdain for political correctness and a commitment to candid discourse.
A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran. Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before.
Their unexpected alliance serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of transparency and accountability in political discourse, transcending traditional political boundaries. This collaboration between a comedian and a politician highlights a growing frustration with political doublespeak and the current state of free speech. It's a testament to the idea that when it comes to fundamental rights and honest communication, individuals from diverse backgrounds can find common cause. As we consider the implications of this unlikely partnership, it's worth pondering how their combined perspectives might shed light on other political figures, such as Keir Starmer. Will their shared commitment to questioning authority and advocating for transparency in political discourse?
In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat. A few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones.
Lead to new insights into Starmer's communication style and policies. Keir Starmer's political career has been a rollercoaster of promises and disappointments. As figures like Ricky Gervais and JD Vance shine a spotlight on political transparency, the Labour leader's carefully crafted image is starting to show cracks. Starmer's rise to power was meteoric, fueled by promises of a fresh start for the Labour Party and a commitment to holding the government accountable. But as time has passed, many are questioning whether his leadership is built on a foundation of sand. The disconnect between Starmer's pledges and his actual policy decisions has become increasingly apparent. While he campaigned on a platform of bold change, his actions in office have often been characterised by caution and reactivity. This measured approach has left many supporters scratching their heads, wondering what happened to the decisive leader they thought they were electing. Starmer's communication style has also come under fire. In interviews, he's developed a reputation for dodging direct questions, often leaving audiences frustrated and uninformed. This evasive tactic has not gone unnoticed by political commentators or the public. As Ricky Gervais points out, there's a growing sense that Starmer prioritises political gain over genuine public service, contributing to a deepening mistrust among citizens. JD Vance's recent comments on the importance of truth and transparency in politics seem to echo Gervais' sentiments about the need for accountability from leaders like Starmer. Both figures advocate for questioning authority and demanding clear communication from political leaders. They argue that failure to do so can lead to public disillusionment, a sentiment that's becoming increasingly prevalent among British voters. Critics argue that Starmer's cautious approach may be perceived as a lack of strong leadership, potentially impacting his effectiveness and public perception. His measured tactics, while perhaps intended to avoid controversy, often lead to a perception of indecisiveness during critical moments. This stands in stark contrast to other political leaders who are willing to take bold stances on important issues. The growing frustration with Starmer's leadership style is palpable. Voters who once saw him as a beacon of hope for the Labour Party are now questioning whether he has the conviction to drive real change. His tendency to avoid direct confrontation on key issues has left many wondering what he truly stands for. Gervais' call for honesty in political discourse serves to highlight the shortcomings in Starmer's approach. By emphasising the importance of straight talk and accountability, Gervais exposes the tactics that Starmer and other politicians use to avoid difficult questions. This contrast between Gervais' blunt honesty and Starmer's careful manoeuvring has only served to further erode public trust in the Labour leader. The power of straight talk in politics can't be overstated. Figures like Gervais and Vance aren't just entertaining rabble-rousers, they're essential for keeping our democracy healthy. Their outspoken nature forces us to think critically about our freedoms and question attempts at censorship. It's not just about laughs or political points, it's about maintaining the very foundations of our society. But what happens when leaders aren't transparent? We've seen it time and time again. Public trust erodes and people push back. Remember the pandemic? When leaders spread misinformation, it didn't just lead to confusion, it sparked a crisis of confidence in our institutions. That's why we need more voices willing to call out political doublespeak and demand honesty. So what if more public figures took a page from Gervais' playbook? Imagine a world where politicians couldn't hide behind carefully crafted statements and evasive answers. It's up to us, the voters, to demand that level of transparency. Don't let them off the hook. Ask the tough questions, push for real answers, and hold them accountable. After all, in a true democracy, it's not just our right, it's our responsibility.